the vampire of all vampires is back. All right. Good, bad, blood sucking or not. I don't know. We'll find out here soon enough, but let's start with the IMDb plot. A gothic tale of obsession between a haunted young woman and the terrifying vampire infatuated with her, causing untold horror in its wake. All right. Of course, we're talking about Nosferatu and all the excitement for this movie and so forth. New movie recently released, so I finally got to check this out. And so I try to kind of keep it spoiler free, but I think that many of you who know this tale and so forth and know Nosferatu and so forth kind of know where this is going. So I don't think that there's any huge twist and turn here. Just kind of how the way this story kind of goes and unfolds here. So I'll be straight here at the top and kind of say that this is definitely kind of more to the old or original Nosferatu. We get so caught up with today's vampires and what they present to us over the last decade or two, doing things that we don't we maybe when we first started watching vampires didn't really kind of expect them to do, kind of see them in the sunlight doing regular things for this, that, and we've kind of seen vampires do all kind of stuff that you may or may not follow what you think a vampire should do. I don't want to go through the list of movies that do this, even TV shows that let vampires kind of get away with all kinds of stuff that you wouldn't have thought to be done if you kind of stuck solidly to what a vampire should and should not do. So this is kind of going kind of along the lines of old school and so forth. And I'm gonna, like I said, kind of be, up front here and say that, I have not really seen too many of the Nosferatu and old school kind of, portraying of him and the old Draculas and so forth like that. Some of those older films, I just never went back and watched and may have seen, clips and so forth. And that not only goes for him, but, maybe the old Frankensteins and werewolf movies and so forth. Those were before my time, and I can say, that I know of them and seen, certain things and seen maybe more of some movies than others. But I'm not going to call myself a certain expert on that or whatever. So I'm not going to necessarily really judge this movie and so forth, with those older versions and so forth. And make any kind of direct comparisons and so I'm gonna kind of stick to kind of this movie, and I've still I can't say that I've gone I guess it's a big rating here, 7.6 out of 10. I guess over 90,000 rating here on IMDb. So that's pretty good for horror and pretty good for a movie in general. Here so forth. So, and I seen and I think I've shared it and tweeted it and so forth, whether I promote or through other social media under what I do. It winning a lot of different rewards for this, that, and the other thing. Sound, visuals, this, that, art, makeup, blah, blah, this and that. All kind of stuff that if you follow my reviews, I don't generally kind of comment on. I kind of look at movies in a very simple way and then kind of what I like and what I don't like and so forth. So, but when I kind of, before I dive really into what is happening here, when I look at this film and kind of consider those things and so forth, I can see why people liked it, why it wins awards, why it's high on all those kind of things. Definitely, it has its own pace. It stays well to that. Doesn't overrush it. Doesn't overrush you. Knowing too much about him. Kind of lets that kind of unfold in its own time. lets his obsession with the young woman here unfold in its own time, kind of, carries you, through that dread. If you know anything about it, if maybe you don't know anything about this story and this is all new to you, maybe you kind of view it in a different light, but those who kind of know where this story is going to go, may even get you a little anxious there, because you're like, okay, let's get to that moment. Let's get to that moment where, they're going to collide, and they're going to come face to face eventually. We know that, lots of stuff is going on to kind of bring them together, but they're not together. And then to see what happens in that moment. So it is definitely, kind of, very dark. They do, it's very, kind of black and gray, or bluish. Keep you in that spookiness. Um, you know, uh, all those things that, obviously, his makeup, what he looks like, especially, when you really get to see him, and the terror of what he looks like, is really well done. So, all that stuff that everybody's kind of saying about those kind of things is true, and I think also the acting is very solid in the movie as well. Obviously, they're in another time period. The language might, be a little bit different, not, so much off, but sometimes that kind of throw me off as far as when I'm like telling, how the acting is going, but all of that stuff is just very, very solid. Um, and so forth. There's, a couple of, I'm not going to say jump scares, but definitely, kind of giving you a terrifying moment, obviously usually involving him. And lots of those come during like these kind of dream sequences where something, you're not really sure if it's happening or not. Some are very clear that they're not. Others you might be like, oh, is this a dream or is this kind of happening? You're not 100% sure. So, there are, some of that. So I think a lot of the terrifying stuff, comes through that kind of thing. Because that, he's sending out, kind of his vibes to the the woman, and, kind of haunting her, through her dreams and so forth. And haunting other people, including her husband. So, as all the, like I said, all those kind of things that you want to, that I guess people that go into the in-depth reviews and so forth, whatever, that say and that the movie's winning awards on, is very true. All that stuff is very good in the film and very well done and so forth. So I'm not going to really complain about that, and or there's nothing else for me to say. It is justified. I guess that's the easiest way for me to say. As for what's going on here, kind of real quick, it's like I said, I think many of you kind of know what's kind of unfolding in this movie. You have this young couple here, and so forth, going through their life, going through their struggle. You have the husband here, who is trying to hold on, and he's tasked to go, and I wasn't really clear on what his job was, but I guess he was supposed to go and get Nosferatu to sign papers for some kind of business deal or money or something like that. That part I didn't quite grasp what it was that what he was, but that's what he had to do. So where he's going. Me, nobody else kind of might know where he's doing, what he's going. So obviously you have that tension. That he's the husband of the girl that Nosferatu is ultimately going to want, and that he's kind of where he's going. So he makes his travels. He goes there, and is basically not not threatened, not in danger, but is not kind of free to go exactly when he wants to go. Kind of wants to get back to his wife, but obviously Nosferatu is there, kind of toying with him a little bit, putting things in his mind, and obviously using the opportunity to get in her mind, even though she's not there. Obviously, like I mentioned, through the dreams and so forth. So you're gonna get that kind of creepiness and that kind of setup going on, until he goes back with his wife, And but then other bad things start happening in the town, and that kind of leads to people, kind of searching out the evil that is happening in the town. And then the husband, along with another guy or two, kind of figure out what is going on, Nosferatu, and so forth. And they, another creepy figure. He has somebody who I forget his name, but he's basically made him his right hand man, and so forth. So eating all kinds of creatures, which is really disgusting, and so forth. And obviously he's flipped his mind, but we have that character as well, a very interesting character as well. Kind of, maybe filling that void of where Nosferatu would be if he could be out, but instead we get this guy who's kind of doing some bad stuff and eating some things that are disgusting and so forth. So we kind of get that to kind of fill the void. So we kind of had that, almost we got to figure out what's going on in town thing, whatever. He sees that something's going on with his wife and so forth. And then, ultimately kind of puts the pieces together, then knows that Nosferatu is coming for her. Then, we it kind of, and I don't think it's a spoiler again, I'm assuming that most people kind of know the Nosferatu story, and it is the story of vampires in general. You watch what we see, while they are bloodsuckers, they are hard romantics. They're always looking for that one woman and so forth, or they always just have to have that woman in their life or whatever, in some way, shape, or form. So, we have that here. You see that as the guy's wife is the target, and Nosferatu is moving closer and closer to her as the film kind of goes. So, ultimately, what is going to happen? Is he going to save her? Is he not going to save her? What's going to happen when the two kind of collide and so forth? And that's kind of the big ending here. I would say very interesting ending scene. Very creepy. Kind of just like ew, ew. You kind of feel for the situation and the individuals involved. But yeah, definitely a high, ending that's gonna kind of leaves in your thoughts there, and so forth. But not, I would say truly unexpected, but definitely, probably kind of fitting for everything that happens in the movie and where it goes, and probably what you guys, some of you might have expected to happen. But yeah, definitely interesting. So, kind of all that said, and so forth, I guess my end point with this all is, and to kind of get to the point of it all, is that, and again, this was one movie that I saw, after, it came out, right at Christmas time. So I didn't get to count this as in my 2024 top 10. And, I don't necessarily know that, that I would, what I will do with maybe some of the films that I didn't quite kind of count as that. Now, there's not that many, but and so forth. But I will say, because I mentioned it in that review, or that top 10, I would say that to me, this is outside of it. And kind of my whole real point here is that it is justified that it is a very solid movie. All the awards is won. The look, the feel, the tension, the suspense. His look is great. Everything about him, the acting, just a really solid film. It definitely has some really strange, creepy moments and terrifying, moments for the people involved here. I'm not going to definitely, say that any of it necessarily, made me want to fall out of my seat. But they did, a really great job with everything that you'd want from this movie and want from this. But to me, I don't know. It just not my film, and maybe not a reason why it, didn't necessarily go back and watch too many of the classics. You know, you watch scenes, know the movies, and so forth. But you know, not necessarily, you know, my type, or not, you know, whatever. So, you know, I again, you know, say it's a solid film. Not going to disagree with anybody out there. Not going to disagree with it getting a high rating here on IMDb. You know, very solid all around or whatever. But I don't think it would have landed on my top 10, just because you know, it just wasn't, you know, my type of film, or what I, you know, wanted. You know, yeah, there is some blood in it, whatever. Like I said, there are terrifying moments. He is a monster and whatever. So it does check off some of the things there. But I think just overall, you know, and I think if you look at some of the movies that I did put in my top 10, you know, it would have fallen out of that. And I mentioned that just because if you know, follow along with me and you saw my top 10, you know, I did make mention of this movie and not seeing it. So I just wanted to kind of make sure that you guys knew that, no, it would not have made my top 10. You know, in the end of the day, I am going to give Four Pools of Blood here because it is a solid film, because I realize all the things that I said, and it does match that. But I think, you know, at the end of the day, again, you know, I'm not going to get overexcited about it and amped up about it and so forth, because it's just, you know, it's just not totally my, you know, in my area. Yeah, of course, horror's in my area, whatever, blah, blah, and vampires and so forth. But I don't know, like, you know, I just watched it and said, okay, that's a solid film, but, you know, then I move on to kind of the next. It's not, you know, some of the other movies kind of stuck in my head for one reason or another, especially in the top part, for, you know, usually blood and guts reason. But yeah, so you know, there's no need for me to revise or whatever, go back to that list. But you know, I realized again, you know, I'm not going to shortchange the movie. Solid on everything that everybody's been saying about it and all the excitement for it. But I'm even though I give it 4 pools of blood or whatever, I'm giving it 4 pools of blood because, you know, it kind of checked off all those boxes for all those things that everybody's saying about it. You know, I would say for me personally, you know, on my scale and my watching, it would probably be more 3. But you know, I'm kind of, you know, giving the film its due to say, as far as more of you know, how I, you know, kind of watched it and, you know, kind of my reaction to it. If any of that makes sense, whatever. 4 pools of blood, and we'll just end it at that out of 5. For that, definitely, if you have not seen it, hopefully I did not ruin anything for you. Hopefully you know a little bit about the story, so I didn't ruin anything about it for you. Certainly recommend you do watch it and check it out. It is a little over 2 hours, so be prepared. But yeah, that is going to be it for this one. I sucked all the blood out of this that I can. So with that, horrorsquarereviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all of my reviews, written in video. Certainly mostly video reviews for a while now. So like, subscribe, and do everything else that everybody wants to do here on YouTube. If not, no worries. It is okay. I thank you for your time regardless. Twitter, Facebook information down below as well. Feel free to reach out to me there. You know, say your good thoughts, bad thoughts about this movie to me. Agree, disagree there, and in the comments section. Please feel free to say how much you love the movie, how much, you know, you agree, disagree with me there. For that's fine as well. So with that, I will catch you in the next review, horror fans.